I want to talk about something which I see we stumble on and that really affects our game when it comes to creation, when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to really bringing our desires from our imagination to our physical. Many years ago, I found myself always getting exhausted and tired. While I thought I was manifesting, while I thought I'm doing all the steps, I'm visualizing, I'm creating, I have faith, I'm taking inspired action, I just used to feel that I am just so tired. It's so exhausting. I'm doing too much. And every time I used to tell myself I'm too in the masculine, I'm constantly doing. Like I'm trying to wrestle control, I'm trying to make it happen, I'm pushing it, and it does happen in some way, maybe in a limited way, but I get so exhausted and I feel so tired. What I realized was that I was missing a really big piece of the puzzle, that is the feminine energetics. And when I say feminine energetics, what I mean is not woman energy, what I mean is receiving energy. I don't know if you can relate to this, but imagine that you have this manifestation, you have this vision you want to manifest, and you are visualizing, you're affirming, you're doing everything, you're doing all the steps, but then you take inspired action to manifest it, and all of a sudden the fear kicks in, the doubt kicks in, and you wrestle control the situation, you try to make it happen, you do more things, you try to find a way, you almost try to take control of the situation. A lot of people also call it manufactured manifestation, when we try to make it happen ourselves. I need to climb the whole mountain by myself. And that process is really tiring. But the question is, how do I trust? How do I trust that I'm doing enough? How do I trust that I'm supposed to do this and the co-creation is happening? The universe is responding, that I lead and universe is responding. How do I trust? How do I build that trust? How do I let go and surrender? And what does it even mean to surrender? Does it mean to give up? Does it mean to not think about it? Does it mean to just trust that it's going to somehow happen when I cannot trust? How do I do this? And that's when I learned this most beautiful information which has changed my life. When I heard it for the first time, it triggered me. It triggered me a lot. I was quite annoyed. But then I realized that I wasn't using my feminine energy that much, and I was hustling more, and it was making me tired, and it was too exhausting. But it bring a huge transformation for me, to the point that I learned that how I be and how I get in my receiving. And you still need masculine. Like when somebody says, oh, I just got in the shower and I make $40,000, they did something, right? They might send out an email, they did something. Or I went out and bumped into my soulmate. You went out, right? Or somebody called you and you did something, you went, so we still do some kind of action, even if it's inspired and it's so aligned that it doesn't even feel like any action. It's still some kind of action. But how do we know that we are doing enough? How do we know that whatever we are doing is enough? How do we trust when there are doubts, when it's crazy, right? What I learned was that the more we be the version of ourselves who is a match, who is a vibrational match for what we are manifesting. If you want to manifest something, are you that version of you? That means, do you wake up like that? Do you have the same beliefs like that version? Do you operate like that version? Do you show up like that person? Do you have that confidence? Do you dress? Do you talk? Do you walk? Are you that version of you? Right? Because there are so many versions of us which exist within us, and there's so many levels. Are you that version of you today? Because if you are that version, then you are a vibrational match. That means that there is an attractive force, there is a frequency where you're tuned in and it's coming to you. And then whatever action you take, whatever thing you're called to do, it's going to bring it to you, right? But the key is becoming that. Becoming means changing your self-concept. Let's think of it this way, that there are so many versions of you. There is your grandest, greatest version where there is no limit, right? If you think about your greatest version, you don't even know what it is. Like, it's so great, and there is no limit to how much you can ascend. When you have that greatest version, all you need to do is to activate that version or the higher version or the higher, wherever you want to get to. You have to see yourself differently, and that is the effortless way, that you start to hold a different perception of yourself. You start to hold a different image of you, a different concept of you. I see myself differently. I see myself more confident, therefore I show up confident, therefore I act confident. I see myself more resilient. I see myself more powerful. I see myself more calm and serene. I see myself more worthy of receiving. I see myself more valuable. I see myself as a leader. I see myself as somebody who has faith. I see myself somebody who is disciplined. Anytime you say anything about yourself, it's how you see yourself. I see a lot of times people say, oh, I'm not a morning person. So it's not that you are not that person. You see yourself as not being a morning person. Therefore, you don't be a morning person. It's not who you are. It's who you think you are. Right? And when you see yourself differently, you activate a different version of you. And when you are a vibrational match for that thing, then whatever you do, it's going to be from the place of alignment, and it's going to be coming as your subconscious intuitive action, and that's going to bring that thing to you. Now the question is, Anam, if I be that person, and then what if that thing doesn't happen? Thing is, it didn't happen because you were not that person yet. That means there is some work to be done in your belief system. There is some work to be done in your vibrational alignment. There is some work to be done on your self-concept. There's some work to be done on your embodiment. There's some work to be done on how you show up, right? But the scary part is that we are not willing to test if we are a vibrational match, because we're too scared to fail, so we don't even try. We're too scared for it to not work. We try to wrestle control and say, let me just make it happen somehow. But the key is, what if we know that if it doesn't happen now, I'm still gonna be okay? And I know it's mine. I know it's meant for me. I'm gonna commit to constantly evolving and growing myself and do what feels aligned, and I know that it's coming. I know it's mine. I know it's already done. It's coming in my physical. The key is that it's not about how many actions we do. It's not about how much we hustle or how much we try to just somehow just connect. It's about how much we be. The more we be, the more intense our frequency is going to be to attract what we desire. It's about how can I be more? How can I step in my power? How can I see myself differently? Where do I put limits in myself? Where in my self-concept I have beliefs that are not serving me? Where do I hold a perception of me that doesn't align with that version of me? Because we hold an image of ourselves in our mind, a concept about ourselves. And that concept activates the version of us. And that version of us attracts something towards it, what its vibrational match for. And when we don't like what it is, we try to hustle and try to find a way. And all it happens is burnout. But what if I rise in consciousness? What if I be more? What if I start to tap into my greatest version? I often ask my clients to do this exercise, and I say, really envision what could be your greatest, most powerful, unlimited, limitless, most beautiful, most divine, most glamorous, beautiful, like a version which has no limits. What does that version look like? How would that version dress? How would that version be? How would that version show up? How would that version hold the frequency? How would that version operate? How would that version talk, walk, live? How would that version behave? How would that version feel? How would that version think? How would that version deal with things? How would that version hold beliefs, and how would that version view things? And if you can really tap into that grand version of you, a version which blows your mind, a version you think, oh no way, this is so big, I see it there, oh, it blows my mind away. What if you can think of your greatest version as far as you can go, and then you hold that image, and then you become that by holding that concept of yourself, and then your vibrational match finds you because you're in alignment, because you're on that frequency. Where we struggle to trust and let go is because we know that the feminine, the receiving, the being energy is not in order yet. Let's focus on being. being our greatest self, because we cannot outperform our self-concept. So if that vision is outside of our self-concept, we can't attract it. Psychology proves that our mind will find a way to not make it happen, and we will lose the frequency. It's like tuning into the AM frequency and expecting to listen to FM. And that's what happened to me. I started to burn out. I started to feel so tired and exhausted. I started to compromise on the areas of life that were not worth doing. I started to feel like I'm paying the price. All I had to do was be. All I had to do was to rise in consciousness to my greater self and let my vibrational match find me. If you're thinking, how can I make sure I would do the right actions? When you are that person, it will happen so subconsciously you wouldn't even know that it's an action. It will just flow through you. And that is your beauty. Being so grand, being so great and so powerful. I'll leave you with that thought. What does your greatest, most powerful, grandest version look like? And I'll see you soon.